Okay.
Welcome to the paranormal episode.
Right? Paranormal. Wow. So, as everybody can see, there is two of us right now. We're doing something a little different this week just because it's the way the world turned it out for us to do today. So, it's going to be Crystal and I at first, and then hopefully Tessa will come in and join a little bit later. She and I will have kind of our own little episode and pieces together, and we'll see how it works. And Crystal froze on me, so now I'm just...
Oh, God.
No, I hear you coming back.
Don't let that happen today.
No.
That's not happening today.
It's not.
I'm telling the spirits now.
Knock on wood. And that's like our very first superstition. Not good. So I actually was thinking, as we do these things, the question always pops into my mind for some reason of like, well, why is that a thing? How did that even become a thing? Like, why do we follow these superstitions and such? So I was looking up some and looking at the origins, and it's really pretty cool. Some of them, like the knock on wood, they think came from the Christians, actually, that would hold a wooden cross before having to testify. And so now it turned from that to touching wood as good luck before you prep into going into something. And then it turned in from just good luck to I'm going to avoid bad luck, knock on wood, and turn that.
Interesting. Right? Thank you for knowing that. Wow.
And the have you ever heard of it's bad luck to open an umbrella inside?
Yeah. I totally heard that one.
So
and I feel like I would just go open umbrellas inside all the time.
I know. Freak people out.
Yeah.
So it came from 18th century London. When they first made umbrellas, the metal spokes that they used were really clunky, and the springs would malfunction often. So it was actually really dangerous because if you opened it inside, a lot of times those springs would shoot out and like shatter valuables or hit little kids and hurt them. So that's why that became a thing. So they actually used to really like hurt people. So they were like, it's bad luck to open it.
Gotcha. That actually landed in my body a little bit throughout the years. That it was dangerous.
Really?
Yeah. Like not super, it was bad luck. It gave us that, okay, it's bad luck. But I thought to myself, well, whatever, it's bad luck. That's fun to play with. But I think it's about not hurting people.
I think one of your past lives must have like been injured by an umbrella.
Right?
It knocked you down.
We went around hurting people with umbrellas, opening the doors.
Your past life, you were scarred. And then I got a couple more. So it's bad luck to walk under a ladder. And
yes, talk about that one.
Yeah, that one came from 5,000 years ago, ancient Egypt. And I thought this was really cool because they would have their ladders propped up against the buildings outside. And so it would make a triangle shape against the building, right?
Yeah, sure.
And triangles were sacred to them, hence why they had all the pyramids, because to them, the triangle was a symbol of Trinity and the gods. And so if you walked under or broke that triangle, then you were desecrating it. And that's how that became.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank
then
you.
The broken mirror one was pretty cool too. So it's 7 years bad luck if you break a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And that came from ancient Greece. They actually had mirror seers, which were like their fortune tellers. So they would take mirrors and dip it in water. And if someone was ill, they would dip the mirror in water, hold it in front of the ill person. And if their image looked distorted, then they were likely to die. Which I know was like brutal. And then later, the Romans added to it. And so we get the 7 years because they believed that people's health was in 7-year cycles. So then if you were ill and they did the mirror test and dipped it in water and it was disfigured, you wouldn't likely just die, but you'd have 7 years of ill health or misfortune.
Jeez.
So I don't know how it changed to a broken mirror causes that from just like having a disfigured face in the mirror with water on it, but
Sure.
somehow it changed to broken glass, 7 years of bad luck.
Wow.
From the Romans in ancient Greece.
That's such a great question that you came up with of why and where do all these things come from?
Yeah.
I'm just tripping on that right now.
Yeah. And the black cats, I read that one too. Black cats being bad luck was brought over with the pilgrims. So that started back in England. They, during like all the big witch stuff going on, they just assumed that because they have this image of the witches being kind of dark and wearing black, the black cats were supposed to be companions or family members or witches that would turn themselves into cats. And so they were associated heavily with witches. And that's why it was bad luck to walk amongst them. And the pilgrims brought that over here whenever they came to America. So that's why that one's still like really prevalent. And
the pilgrims brought the cats, or
no, they brought the story, the legend. Yeah. And apparently King Charles I is also tied to this because he had a pet black cat. And the day his pet black cat died, he was really upset about it. And he said, now all my good luck is over. And the next day he ended up getting arrested for treason. And so then like rumors spread that it must be true that it's because he had it on the flip side. He thought black cats were good luck. And so everybody then around his genre thought black cats were good luck. But during the witch thing going on, they ended up flipping it. And then poor black cats got a bad rep.
Sad for black cats.
I
know. Persecution.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Tied to the witches.
Persecution by association.
I know.
Wow.
What about like any of the old urban legends? Did you ever do the Bloody Mary as a kid?
Yeah, but you're gonna have to remind me of what it is. Is it like looking in a mirror?
Yeah. You're supposed to hold hands if you're with somebody.
Yeah.
Hold hands. You say Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror. And then you're supposed to flip the lights out, and then she's supposed to appear in the mirror. Or no, the lights are out. You say it 3 times. Then you flip the light on, and she's supposed to appear in the mirror. One of the two.
Yeah, something like that. We did do that. It never happened.
Never happened. No.
But we would play light as a feather.
Yeah.
That one was super fun.
It was. Then it did seem like the bodies just like rose so easy.
I know.
Right? And it does work. Like the bodies, every time we did it was like, yeah, we can lift with just our fingertips. That's really cool.
You know what? I'm having I'm so excited for Tessa to be on later with you because I'm having a realization or just like a drop in of I'm sorry I missed her in this segment. Because what is she like? All of this, she would be like, "No, get it away from me." You know what I mean? Even though she's so mystical. She's so mystical.
No, did you read our text? She was wanting to do a seance.
I know. I saw that.
Like what?
I think if we frame these things in mysticalism, she's gonna go for it.
Right. Even I was like, no, seances scare the shit out of me. I'm not trying to bring a bad energy by mistake. I don't know any. But I was like, how the hell is Tessa going to be the one to say, let's do a seance? Totally. She's like the little anti scary stuff.
Scary movie. Like, I can't even watch. What did she say? She could get through
9 Perfect Strangers. I know. She said that was almost too much for me, guys.
I love it.
So if y'all haven't seen 9 Perfect Strangers yet, it's Hulu, right?
Is it Hulu? Yeah, it's Hulu.
It's so good. So
good.
So good.
Ooh.
It's not scary, but it's good. It's good.
No, not scary at all.
But I wonder if she did any of these things too. It'll be curious.
Yeah, I'm wondering too now. And if she did, was it freaking her out big time?
Yeah.
Sorry if you can hear my dog Quincy over here lapping up water and eating. I forgot to put him outside. It's like a full on. Thank you. You can go lay down now.
Hello, Quincy.
So have you ever, what is your experience with seeing ghosts and spirits in your life?
So, yeah, I have a few cool things. Like, well, for me personally, the only one that we had was the ghost tour that we took at the Crescent Hotel back in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Okay.
It was a birthday trip for me because another one of my best friends that had went was also a little scaredy cat. She doesn't like that kind of thing at all, but because it was my birthday, she had to go because birthday girl gets to decide. So this is the one way we got her in there, and we stayed at the hotel too. We stayed the night there.
Okay.
But during this ghost tour, they have different things where you're just encouraged to take pictures all the time because you never know when little orbs are going to show up in pictures and that sort of thing.
For sure.
Which we had plenty of those. But some of the really cool standout things were another couple that was on the tour with us. At one of the ends of the hallways, they have like a full body length mirror. And that's just like one of the spots where everybody stops and takes a picture along the tour because it's a mirror and whoever you're with, you can take pictures of yourself in the mirror. Well, we did. Ours turned out fine. The other couple had taken a couple of pictures in that mirror. And the first one that they took, the wife and the husband, their height was like way off. And they were pretty close in height. Like the husband was just a few inches, but in the mirror, it was like they were kind of distorted and like she was way short and he was like way tall. And the second picture they took, it was like normal and their heights were as they were normally. So we were just like, holy hell, like why did that picture take like that? That was weird. So that one was like the first like, ooh, okay, there's something to this maybe. And then we make it to the nurse's chamber. And so the hotel used to be a hospital and the doctor was fraudulent.
Creepy.
He had the cure. Yeah, he said he had the cure for cancer. And so everyone was spending big money to send their family members there. And they were still dying off, but he'd take like a bunch of photos and then just send them out over time. So even after they died, he would go back to old photos and send them to family, making it look like they were still alive. And they were
what?
Yeah. And then they were just like hiding all the bodies in the basement and collecting money. Yeah. Like so bad juju.
Creepy. That's creepy.
And the head nurse had her own room at the hotel. So she got to stay there at the hospital. And her room, when you walk in, it just felt like the floors were like off. You just instantly felt like lightheaded and dizzy and like you were almost walking in a fun house or something. It was crazy. So that one had bad energy. And then we get down to the basement level where they had the bodies and they had one of the little, I guess, the detector things they use now for spirits. And so they had the little mechanism going off and they were talking to Michael. He was one of the guys that was working on the hospital. So he was like part of the construction crew helping do work and stuff to it. And he was known to be like catcalling girls as they walk by, as he's like up on platforms working on the outside of the building, like a real ladies' man. And there's so many stories that when husband and wife stay in the hotel, he takes all the husband's things and piles it up in a corner by the door, like trying to get the man to leave the room. And so many times couples will wake up and the husband's stuff is all in a pile in the corner and they don't even know how it got there.
Whoa.
And so we're talking to him. And earlier we were in our room and we were trying to go on the patio and the door was locked. And we kept unlocking it, locking it, unlocking it. We could not get the door to open. Like all three of us girls tried. It would not open.
Clarify that. You would unlock it and then it would lock again?
No. So even when we thought it was unlocked, we tried to open it. It wasn't. So then we clicked the lock back and like maybe it was locked. It wouldn't open that way. So either way we had the lock, it wouldn't open. It just was like stuck. And they had a history of suicides. There has been multiple suicides at this place. So I thought, well, maybe like liability. They've sealed the doors and you can't go on the balconies. Maybe it's just there for looks
Oh,
now. So
right.
as we're in the basement talking to Michael, then of course one of the girls in our room steps up and she's talking to him and she's like, "Are you going to come see us later?" And the response was yes. Yeah, and the response was yes. And so then later we go back and we're just like talking about all the things that happened on the tour and like the nurse's room and how that felt crazy and stuff. And we're like, whew, there's like, you definitely feel an energy here. There's something, which Eureka Springs is a vortex town too. So there's something to that. And we're just talking and we're like, wouldn't it be weird if our door opened to the balcony now? And so one of the girls gets up and easy as pie just opens the door and the door opens up to the balcony. We were like, oh, because she's like, "Michael, if you're here, you'll let me open this door." And she opened it right up. And we were like, holy crap. And so we're all freaking out and we're like, not wanting to. Ashley's like, "Should we just go home? I think we should just go home." And I'm like, "No, we're staying in this hotel. We're going to stay the night." And we like stayed all piled up the whole night next to each other. Like, we don't want to sleep near the edge of the bed. It's going to be some kind of energy grabbing us off the bed later or something. It's so crazy. Such an experience. If you guys are brave enough and you ever have the chance, the Crescent Hotel is amazing to go visit and stay at. And it's just really beautiful too. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful hotel.
Oh my gosh, Jeremy would be so up on that. I think we've talked about that. We're like, let's go. I'm like, oh, that scares me. Oh my gosh. I feel like I am. Well, anyway, do you have any more story? You said you had a couple. So what are the other ones?
Well, the other one doesn't really pertain to me specifically, but to my husband. So when he got orders to move to Kentucky, it was Tennessee-Kentucky border. At that time, he was living on the Kentucky side waiting for a deployment. He was only going to be there for about a month or two before he got sent overseas. So he was staying with a friend, and his friend wasn't home, but told him like where the key was, how to get in, just go ahead and unload your stuff. It was the day he first moved there. So he moves in and he's watching TV and he's like, and then all of a sudden the door, one of the bedroom doors in the back creaks open. And he was like, "Hello? Like, is there anybody here?" Nobody's there. So he goes and shuts the door, sits back on the couch. And like within a few minutes, the door creaks open again. And he was like, "Okay, what the hell?" And he's like, "I'm just leaving it. Like, maybe it's faulty door or whatever." Mm-hmm. And then he could swear he heard footsteps. And so he's like looking behind him and he's like, "There's nothing." And the door creaks just a little bit more. And he's like waiting. Here's footsteps. It sounds like somebody's walking in the house. And so he gets up and looks around. There's nothing there. And a little bit later, he goes and talks to the neighbor. And he was telling him about it. And the neighbor was like, "Oh, that's catfish." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's catfish." And he's like, "Who's catfish?" And he said, so apparently one of the guys that lived there prior ended up committing suicide in the house. And they called him Catfish. That was his nickname. And Catfish, while he lived there, committed suicide, hung himself. And he's like, we've heard from other people that have lived there after the fact that the door creaks open and they can sometimes hear footsteps. And he's like, we all just assume it must be Catfish still hanging around the house. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, "Babe, oh, you're living in a haunted house."
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think that would freak me out if I constantly felt like I heard somebody walking around and
I would move. I couldn't. I don't think I could handle it.
He only lived there for a couple of months, like I said, and then he got to deploy and we ended up getting our own place after he came back. But yeah, he's like, it happened a few more times after that. It wasn't just a one-time thing. So he's like, it was definitely a weird situation. And I think, but I'm not 100%. I want to say that stuff would get moved around and he'd be like, "That's not where that was last time." And like shit would just randomly like move from one cabinet to another room or a different shelf. And him and his buddy were both like, "I didn't move it."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Have you ever had any?
I'm so excited we're talking about this.
I know. Right before Halloween. So it's perfect.
I know. But it's like, I don't know. My whole my feeling with all of this is so I've done a little bit of mediumship training and tapped into my ability to communicate with the other side. And this is something, not only have I trained in it, but it's something that has unfolded out of me through all of the work that I do, all the energy work that I've done through the years. And so I feel like the veil between me and the other side is a thin one. And at one point I said, okay, I'm going to go, hone this deeper. And when I did, yeah, okay. Who was that?
So you froze for a second right there at the end.
I know.
Okay.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Did I miss any piece of information?
Anyway, I started with this where I learned how to hone into communicating with the other side when the other side and I were in the right vibration. It wasn't always. It's not like I am just like constantly having these communications from and downloads from ghosts or anything like that. I'm not to that degree. But with a set intention, and these experiences would come through and I would experience them with my clients and they'd be confirmed, right? So I would see and ask, I would hear, clairsentient, clairvoyant, and clairaudient. I could experience when I was in a session doing Reiki or energy work and then giving the messages to my clients from what feels like to me the other side. But what's coming up right now is that there's so much of it's a vast world, this other side, right?
Yeah.
It's dark. I'm dark and light is what I'm getting. Yeah. All the same thing, all source, but dark and light. And I haven't experienced a lot of dark other sideness outside of my exploration into sexuality and my body. So the dark sorceress has arose, right, for me inside of my body. The dark temptress, the dark seductress, all of these things. The witch, she's here. What we would think as dark. So all of that has arose for me inside of my body. I'm not scared of it. I go into it. And that's actually most of how I'm working these days and that's my clients find me, they're like, they think they're in a lot of darkness and then we just shine the light and we're like, here, you're actually, it's not that scary.
That's not scary.
You're not gonna be scared. You can go in, but yeah, I'm just at this point, I love talking about this because I haven't ever, and I don't want to, but I haven't ever experienced these experiences of feeling like I have demonic energy around me or entities, right? That's like another one is, oh gosh, I've got these entities. Maybe I have had entities, but I've never felt controlled by any of them. That anything dark and destructive, except that entity, right? That
Ophelia is her own darkness.
She's the entity. Yeah, so I don't know, this is just such an interesting, I know I'm not kind of going everywhere, but this is such an interesting conversation. I definitely don't I don't have any desire, and I've always kind of kept a block to it because I do feel like the veil is thin. I can communicate with the other side, And I only want to do that through health, things that feel healthy and aligned to my heart, not that super spooky. But there have been times when I've consciously had to say, I don't welcome you. I don't welcome this energy. Like I have felt it starting to come through. So those kind of things are arising. But I did have, when I was a very young girl, one time I woke up in the middle of the night and I looked over to my right and I saw
I feel like we just get to good parts and then she freezes. Crystal, come back. Come back to the living side. Can you hear me? Oh, man. Usually she pops back in pretty quick. While we wait, if she doesn't come back on really quick. There's also a site, if you guys look. Okay, there you are. You froze again.
I want to pretend this is totally spirit, but we know what happens over here.
I know. But no, you said you left off like the part that we caught, or was when you were little. You looked over to the right.
Yeah, and totally far. She's there chilling. Felt, yeah. If I go into it now and I'm like, what was the theme, right? What was the energy? What was she bringing? It felt like she was there, kind of watching over me. It felt that energy, not spooky, but trip out to actually see it. I was like, oh, and it's 1:11 right now while we're talking about it.
Oh, that is cool.
Whew, okay.
So what was it that you saw though?
Okay. I saw just a woman, very old. Old, really long gray hair, tiny. She was really tiny. And so this house that I lived in wasn't a spooky house. My dad actually designed it and had it built in our backyard. Like we lived in a 1-story and we had a big backyard, and he built us a 2-story in the backyard. So I don't know, but the land is the land. So there's that. Yeah. But it did feel really kind of more personal. Wow. She was there for me and for me to see, and I got freaked out, right? Now I look back and I get the energy, but then I went straight to the bathroom, turned on the light, and was scared. Okay, when I go back in, I hope she's not there, and she wasn't. So that was my one side of my visualization.
Gotcha. How old were you? Do you remember about?
Say that again.
Do you remember about how old you were?
I had to be like I want to say like 7. Yeah, I was really young. Wow. And then we went to New Orleans, and a couple years ago, and went on the ghost tour. Oh, yeah. And got the orbs in the pictures and all that kind of stuff. So that was really fun. Yeah, and I don't think that people can create orbs in photos.
Yeah.
From lighting. I don't know the answer to that. I shouldn't even say that out loud because I could be totally wrong, but I don't think so. Yeah. So that was fun. But what I really I think that where some darkness lives that I do want to drop into one day is studying the voodoo down there. That would be something very interesting.
Yeah. It's not here on my shelf. It's in another room. But one of the times I was down there, I got a little voodoo guy from New Orleans.
You did?
Yeah, and he's so cute. It looks like a little crazy feathered haired troll. I haven't done anything with him, but I just thought it was like a cool little keepsake from there. But yeah, New Orleans has its own vibe for sure.
Totally, it's spooky. It's a
Mhm.
spooky fucking town.
Yeah.
We're gonna see each other again down there soon.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to.
I'm
Because it's only
like, I have an 8-hour drive when I get to San Antonio.
How much for you?
8 hours. It's an hour flight and an 8-hour drive.
It's like 5.5 hours for me. So,
easy.
So close.
So easy. But also we need to do the Florida beaches too. Like that's how we gotta roll, right?
For sure. That's super close to me. Speaking of San Antonio, did you know? Because then I also found, and this is what I was gonna say when you froze last time, there's a site that tells like the number one like creepy urban legend thingy of each state.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. Wow. And then like some of the different towns and stuff. But I thought San Antonio's was really funny because, or really odd, because they have one for Texas, but then they also have like a few different things going on for San Antonio specifically. So when you're there, you'll have to check out this little bridge because it's called Donkey Lady Bridge. And apparently in the 1950s, some lady was trying to save her children. Their house was burning. Okay. And some say that her husband started the fire, but that's not confirmed. But she was trying to save her kids in the house fire. She failed. The kids still ended up dying during the fire. She got out, but she was horribly disfigured. And like her face ended up looking kind of elongated and what some called a donkey-like shaped head. So that's why they started calling her the Donkey Lady. And they ended up outcasting her from the town. And so she apparently had to go live in the woods. And she still haunts the woods at Bexar County. And if you stand on the stone bridge in Medina River Greenway and you call her name 3 times, she's supposed to appear to you. So I don't know if you want to try that, but it might be kind of cool. Yep. Tess is coming in all confused. We figured.
Hi.
Nice for you to join us.
Sorry.
Perfect timing. Crystal just froze again.
Sure.
Epic fail on my part here.
Before we started, we were like, pretty sure Tessa thinks we're starting at a different time.
I totally lost track of time. We were pouring thousands of jars of paint, and I was not paying attention to the time. So let me grab a chair. I'll be right back.
Okay. I love how she gets ready for work.
I know.
I would just go in my pajamas if it was. That's what I do. I go in my pajamas.
Yeah, in a warehouse, be like,
I mean, I get ready for my clients, and that's and this a little bit at this point. Yeah. Keep my hair rather spooky, but yeah, she's like, I'm going to the office. Let me get ready. I love that.
Right.
You too, babe. You're like always looking so fresh.
I wasn't last week. Last week I was looking like a horrific mess. I was sick. Yeah.
Sicky.
Still got a little cough left over, but feel so much better. So much better.
So are you guys doing anything for Halloween, or are you just gonna pass out candy?
Yeah, we're just gonna pass out candy here. We're on post, so there's a crap ton of kids that go trick or treating.
How fun is that?
And we're just gonna set our little chairs outside and have a little table with our candy and some drinks and just pass out candy and see all the kids dress up.
We went and did where were we? I think we were in Breckenridge one year for Halloween. And there was this one house that we went to, and we walked up, and he was like, yeah, we have candy for the kids on this side, and we have Fireball and apple cider for the adults on this side. So we're like, what?
Epic.
Best house ever.
Hi, what did I miss? I'm so sorry.
Hi.
Well, we kind of made a plan because Crystal's going to have to leave here in just a minute. Okay. So she and I covered the first half, and then I figure when she has to transition out, then you and I can cover this last half hour.
Okay. Cool.
But first, tell us if you played all the games when you were a kid.
Yeah. Did you do like light as a feather?
Are we talking about
Blake?
Squid Games?
Yeah.
Or
Spooky games.
oh, we were talking about Squid Games. Have you guys seen that? No, I don't think I played any games. I remember like the Boogeyman one. Do you remember that? Where like, oh, I don't even remember what you say. Like you lay. Oh, weird. Now that I think about it, it's like totally like hypnosis. But yeah, you like lay down and then it's like sandbags, 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 and then you're like putting it all over, and then you can't get up, which is
Oh.
I've never done that one. I've never heard of that one.
I can't even remember what it was called. The Sandman or yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
But in my master NLP training, I actually did it in trainer's training because COVID hit during my master's. We do a my brain is somewhere else, guys.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But we do this thing where you lay on a chair with like your head on this and you have your feet on the chair and you go completely rigid under hypnosis. And like, so you put people under and they're able to hold their entire body like that. And it's like something you can't do physically otherwise, but it's
They're
crazy.
like backwards planking.
Yeah. But without holding anything. Like your arms are by your side. It's called full body catalepsy. There it is. And so you like go completely rigid and hold yourself up. And it's like you can stay there for minutes and you're fine. But it's like if you did otherwise, you just like crumble apart. You can't do it.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be able to like get in that position to start with.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, no, you start sitting and then you go through this full hypnosis trance. And then at the end, you move them on and they hold their bodies completely stiff. It's the craziest thing.
Wow. That would be so cool to see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So no Bloody Mary, no light as a feather.
You know me. I'm scared of everything.
I know, but we were talking like you were the one wanting to do a seance today. So I was like, surprise the heck out of me.
I said, does anybody know one? I didn't say necessarily you would do
it. Have you had any encounters with ghosts, Tessa?
I think most of mine happens in my dream space. Like I guess, I don't know if that's also called full body catalepsy, but like when you have those dreams where you're like trying to like move or scream. Have you ever had those? And
yeah, dude, all the time.
All the time?
All the time.
Oh, no.
It's so frustrating.
How often is all the time?
Probably a good once a month.
Whoa.
Oh.
That's intense.
What is that? I read it in the space of, and if you look it up on Google, it's like saying that something's like controlling you or some shit like that. But yeah. What is that, Tessa? Say more.
I always thought it was like demons, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
From a religious background, it was always like, may the power of Christ compel you. May the power of Christ compel you. Like, go away, let me free.
Hold up your crucifix.
Yeah. Like in my mind, I'm splashing fucking holy water on you.
So I've only had it happen to me twice in my life. And both times, it's not been except for when we moved here. It's been this year. Oh, and I've never had it happen until this year. And the first time freaked me out so bad. And I remember like Tad ended up waking me up because he could hear me whimpering. Mm-hmm. But in my dream, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And like nothing would come out.
Yeah.
But he was like, I could hear you just like like you're whimpering. And I was like, dude, in my dream, I was screaming at the top of my lungs because I couldn't move and nobody could hear me. And I couldn't get my voice to come out. And so I was trying to scream as loud as I could. It was so scary. I'm like, oh, poor Crystal. Oh, I'd hate to have that.
Is
I
that
do.
called
I have it a
sleep
lot. And I've
paralysis?
trained Jeremy to know if he hears that whimpering to shake me.
Yeah.
It's a trip. He's like, what was that? And I'm like, I've been having them since I was young, very young.
Dang.
And there's a little bit of breath too that it's a breath constriction as well when it happens. So
Right.
science or spirit, we don't know.
Right.
Both or all.
Like,
So it's called sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
And it's linked to deep underlying psychiatric problems according to WebMD.
we're all
Often
crazy.
described
Cool.
as an evil presence, unseen night demons in ancient times, the old hag in Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, or alien abductors. That's what it is.
It's alien.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I'll go with that one.
Yeah. I do
It's
not like
uncomfortable.
Yeah, I do not like those dreams. Do not. Oh.
So some common reasons why. It says as much as 4 out of every 10 people experience sleep paralysis. That's pretty common.
40.
Lack of sleep schedule changes, mental conditions such as stress or bipolar disorder, sleeping on the back, other sleep problems such as narcolepsy or nighttime leg cramps, use of certain medications, especially those for ADHD, and substance abuse, according to WebMD, is what they
I
say.
do sleep on my back.
Me too.
That's part of my problem.
I don't know. I feel like every time it's happened, I think it's happened like 3 or 4 times to me. I'm on my side and I'm like,
Really.
I can see like Nathan or I'm like staring at something. But yeah, that's intense.
And it's like, wake me up, wake me up, wake me up.
Help me. Yeah, I sleep on my back. And so it's funny because there's a lot of times in the morning I'll sleep with my hands even on my chest. And Tad's like, that is the creepiest thing to wake up to. You look like you're dead, like next to me. But that's like the most comfortable. I sleep like this. And he's like, you look dead. I don't like it.
Well, you're like doing, you're like self-healing, I think, while you're sleeping. Like you're
My heart's
doing energy work on your heart, right? Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Look at it like that.
Yeah.
So what sort of things happened during your games or what sort of encounters? Did you guys already talk about this? I can go back and watch it.
We did. Nothing happened with Bloody Mary, but with the light as a feather, stiff as a board, that actually does work. Like you only have fingertips, but the body comes up off the floor. So that one does work. And there's probably like physiologically something behind that. But
wait, so explain that one. What do you do?
so you have one girl to lie down, and then the other girls, or it's mostly girls that did it, I think, but the people would surround the person on the floor, and everybody only puts one fingertip of each hand under their body. And then all together you say, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board. And you keep repeating. And as you do, you're trying to lift their body with just your fingertips, and their body comes up off the floor.
That's totally full body catalepsy. That's crazy. See, so like everyone playing all these games, like that is hypnosis. If you don't believe in hypnosis, that's what you've been messing with.
You're like, it's proven it works.
Yeah, that's
because Bloody Mary doesn't work, but that one worked.
Is Crystal frozen? Over there.
I think she is. Luckily, in the first half hour, like she wasn't freezing that much. I was only here towards the end, so. I was looking up. So one thing we haven't got to yet that we can talk about is I found this website that had it broken down by state of like the creepiest urban legend per state. And so I looked up some of those and thought that was really cool. So I can tell you what Nevada's is, Tessa.
Mm.
Oh, yours is totally where you need to be right now because theirs is just the secrecy around Area 51. So
What? Really? That's
that's
it?
their biggest one, just because they're the aliens, and so they think just because the government's so secret about it now, everybody's got like so many different theories, which the government has admitted to doing a program investigating UFOs. So now there's legends out there that they're hiding aliens, they're doing actual like experiments on aliens in there, and they haven't told us about it. But yeah. And then I looked up Hawaii's, since that's your background. They had a pretty cool one. Have you ever heard of the Night Marchers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Hawaii's biggest urban legend. It's spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors who march around the island to protect sacred areas. Legend says if you look directly at a night marcher, you'll be marked for death. And if you happen to get caught in one of their processions, then you're supposed to lie down in the middle of the road.
There's this bridge. Oh, I forget what it's called.
Where she gets stuck sometimes.
There's this bridge in Hawaii, and I forget what the whole story is, but it's like when you drive one way, there's 7 bridges, but when you drive back, there's only 6. And it's like got this creepy story with it, but I don't remember what it is.
Weird.
I tried to remember all that stuff.
I'm back.
No. The only time I've ever had like any sort of like weird encounter was at a strip club of all places. And I was talking to this gal and she was telling me that the strip club used to be a men's club back in the day. Like what would it be called? Like
a gentleman's club?
An actual gentleman's club, but where like they actually like went. And so it used to be a gentleman's club. Funny that they turned it into like our day and age gentleman's club.
Right.
But they, I guess a lady was like raped and murdered in the basement. And so they said her spirit was still in the building. And so she would like fuck with the guys if they were like disrespectful to the women or the strippers or anything.
Oh, wow.
She's like telling me about this. She's like, yeah. And she like had something about coffee. She's like, she always messes with me about coffee. And then right at like both of us are like standing like by the stage side, and the hot water on the sink just turns on by itself, and the coffee filter flies out of the machine, and it just turns like the whole floor into coffee. So she's like, wait, there she is again. She's fucking with us. So I was like,
wow. That is weird. Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that was wild.
That is crazy. Tessa, have you heard of the La Plaza Mansion there? Mm-hmm. So it's in Las Vegas, and apparently it's like one of the most haunted buildings in the U.S. So they've done a lot of like the ghost TV shows and stuff there. But one of the owners, the ghost was like fucking with him, I guess. And so he was like trying to confront the spirit. And they said he started getting choked and like just feeling like he couldn't breathe and almost to death. And then when he like finally got released, he started doing some research on the house, and because it's like this old mansion, and he ended up finding a secret room, and there was a bunch of dried blood in this secret room.
Oh, and my God.
Yeah, and then history ended up finding it. I guess it used to be a big mob house back in the day, and so they assumed they had a lot of the mob would kill their victims in there and leave them.
Holy cow.
They're in Vegas, so.
No, thank you.
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go look at that.
When we were in Sedona, there's this little town that's like up on the hill called Jerome. There's like some intense spirits in Jerome for sure. So like this was one of the first towns in the United States that had a brothel. And so they were right off of the, when they were building the trains, they were right. It was like one of the first train towns. And so they had a brothel from this lady. And so this town has been burnt down. The entire town has been burnt down completely twice. And then a third time, like an avalanche of rocks is it still called an avalanche? I don't know, whatever. Something happened with the rocks in the hill and it completely wiped out this city. So this little town has been completely like leveled 3 different times through history.
Wow.
And so you go back now and they still have buildings that are like either completely burnt down or that had like fires. Like you walk through and there's like cells because they have it like kind of closed off as a history part now. And you walk by and it's just like leveled out buildings with like, I don't know, just creepy looking stuff still living there. It's wild. So they have a hospital that was there. And I don't know what the full story is because I don't like that kind of stuff because it scares me. But something happened with this mental hospital where they were saying that they had like they could cure cancer. And so patients were going there and I guess they were like killing them and then telling like their families the thing didn't work or whatever. Their treatment didn't work.
They did it at the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs.
Oh, is that where that is? Maybe I'm getting it confused.
Maybe.
Because like it was creepy, but all creepy things combined into one creepy thing. They do haunted tours there, and they're like you can hear like the gurneys like, coming through, and like there's like supposedly like a spirit cat that's still there that'll like you can feel its tail like going between your legs and messing with you. But yeah, that's wild.
Borden? Is that what you said the town was?
Jerome.
Oh, Jerome. I don't know where I got Borden. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm leaving to do some spooky stuff myself. So I'm going to an elementary school costume parade.
Woohoo!
So I'm going to see all the creepy little kids.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you. Have
hope
fun.
Not creepy.
Not creepy.
Not creepy.
Probably so adorable.
Yeah.
All right. Talk soon.
All right. Talk to you
Fun.
soon. Yeah. So that town was destroyed multiple times. And I found actually here in Georgia, so our biggest like creepy urban legend of the state is not that far from here. Actually, Lake Lanier is the largest man-made lake in Georgia. And apparently like the government got approval for it. And when they went to start making it, they were just like excited to get the project done, that they bought up a bunch of different, I guess, smaller towns that were connected to build this man-made lake. And instead of destroying the city, they just started filling it with water. So apparently under this lake, there is like a racetrack. There's a couple of towns. There's cemeteries under it. And it's known for having like a lot of freak accidents. And they said just in 2011, there was 17 deaths alone at this lake.
Wow.
And they've had people that have like been drowning victims that they've been able to recover, resuscitate. And when they come to, they said it felt like arms and legs were pulling them down, but there was nobody else around.
Ooh.
I know. I'm like, that makes me not want to go swim in that lake now.
There's that town in Colorado. I've never heard of it until we started RVing and we kept passing by this town. And there's like, I think it's right outside of Pueblo, but it's got this historical sign that's up. I don't know. Nathan knows the full story, but something happened during one of the wars and they ended up just opening fire on all the townspeople and killed like 500 men, women, kids, like just completely shot down the entire town. So that's supposed to be like one of the most haunted places in Colorado.
Wow. Yeah, Riverdale showed up whenever I was looking at Colorado, and I'd never heard of it when I was there. And now I kind of wish I would have. But Legends of Riverdale Road. So apparently there was on this road one day, a guy accidentally hit a jogger with his car and got freaked out. So he just left the scene and the jogger died.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So there, if you go to that crash site and park, supposedly you can, some people have had handprints show up on their back glass. You can hear people banging on the back of your car, and you can hear footsteps like coming nearer and nearer, like somebody running if you're just stopped still. I never heard of Riverdale Road when I was there, but that's what.
Did you ever do Gold Camp Road in Colorado?
We went down Goat Camp Road all the time, but I didn't hear anything about it.
Gold Camp, there's a tunnel where when they were building it, the tunnel collapsed, and so a bunch of people got trapped in there, and so they died. And so they said that like if you go in there and you have to turn off all the lights on your car, like same thing, you'll start seeing like all these handprints pop up, and you can see like the flashlight of one of the construction workers that was trapped in there, and or what's it called, headlamp light.
Yeah, headlamp.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, we've drove through like the little tunnel and everything on Go Camp Road, the like natural rock tunnel thing. Never like stopped there though. We just drove through.
I lived in Colorado almost my whole life, and I've never been through that tunnel.
Really? Wow. Yeah, we took the Jeep through there all the time. Go Camp Road was gorgeous. If you go at night, especially, because at certain parts you can see the whole city just lit up. It's beautiful.
I've been in the road, but I've never been through the tunnel.
No? Wow.
That's
Interesting.
crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say at first I thought it was gonna be like if you turn the lights off, the headlights, because that's like an old urban legend too. If you flash somebody, there's an old urban legend that if you were driving and you flash somebody, that they would turn their car around and come chase you down. It ended up being in a movie. I know you didn't see it. Urban Legends. There is actually a scary movie called Urban Legends, and like the killer ended up losing a friend due to an urban legend. And so then the killer that goes and kills everybody does it based on urban legends. Actually, pretty good movie if you like scary movies, but
Nope.
I know you're out of that one.
So maybe a good thing to talk about is like we obviously very much believe in spirits, and there's like we were talking about last week, energy is energy. So whether it's good, bad, dark, light, whatever it is, it's going to show up. So some ways to clear your energy. So like, all of us use sage. Burning sage, I think, is one of the most common ones. And with sage, it's supposed to clear all the energy, good or bad, just kind of everything that's around you. Palo Santos is a wood that you can burn as well, and that's supposed to clear all the negative energy that surrounds you. Cutting, like we did a whole segment on cutting cords, but even just going through and just cutting any energy that's not yours and going around your body, releasing all that and filling it with good, pure, happy light.
Any energy?
Yeah, anything that you can think of?
No, what I was gonna say, I'm about to do that here. I just got a thing of sage in the wood to sage this place, because I was thinking, I don't think I have since we've been here. And I don't know. I usually like to do that if I'm in a new, just if somebody's lived here before me, because you just never know. But that may be why I'm having my sleep paralysis here, because it's only happened in this house. So I'm like, I need to sage or something. Maybe that'll.
Yeah, totally. Use some sage. I've got like my big feather, so I'll like waft it. You're supposed to really make sure you get it into all the corners and nooks and crannies, because that's where spirits like to chill.
No, that's, Reiki too is good for that, if you know any Reiki masters too.
Oh, even Ho'oponopono too is just saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, to the ground, to the walls, to everything that's kind of surrounding you, clearing that energy out, just cleaning. So many things you can do, because sometimes you do get those intense vibes, and if it's not yours, clear it out.
For sure. Yeah, you can feel it. Like I was telling Crystal earlier, because I was telling my story of the Crescent when we did the haunted tour and the things that were going on while we were there. And it is one of those towns where it's a vortex town. But it's like almost like, I don't know that it's necessarily good energy vortex. Like it's got its own vibe. And when we went just this last time for our girls trip, a couple of the girls were just like a little newer to the town, and they could tell, like, as soon as we got into town, they were like, I don't like the way this feels. I don't like it. I kind of want to leave this town. But I think it's cool. They have like a whole underground city too that you explore, but it definitely has its own vibe. So it's just like anywhere, a new house, a new space, like you're out somewhere, you can sometimes get that vibe of like, this place feels spooky. Or like when you were at Sedona, the opposite, where you're just like, man, I can, like, it just feels like healing energy in the air.
Well, and then it's wild because Jerome is like 45 minutes from there, and you go and it's the same thing. Like we went and there was a crystal store on the way. So I went, that's another thing you can do is I went and bought some protection stones that I made everyone hold in their pockets. I don't know what's happening here, but something feels funky. So yeah, using crystals around your house, drawing the energy out that way, or wherever you are, keeping it in your pocket.
Yeah, good point. And probably good to have around Halloween. As
Yeah.
you're dealing with the creepy kids and their costumes.
Creepy kids. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Too funny. I'm so glad we got to do this one though. It was fun around Halloween time. It's like,
I know. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the beginning. Actually, maybe I don't want to. I don't know. Like creep me out.
No, it's pretty. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Nothing too scary or dark. I don't think so. You should go back because I've already told you our ghost tour thing. Anyways, that's probably the creepiest thing.
Oh, it's so creepy though.
And you already know that one. So
I know. I just finished watching Sex, Love, and Goop. Did you watch that series yet on Netflix?
I know we don't have Netflix, so I know. So I don't. All we've got is Hulu and Amazon Prime.
Well, I love one of the parts Shia is talking about goosebumps as she's like playing with the energetic. And so she said something about how like goosebumps are like little erections all over our skin for hair follicles. So I'm like, wow, every time like something creepy happens, we're getting like little hair follicle erections all over our bodies.
We're dark and twisted in all the ways. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So moral of the story is enjoy your Halloween and enjoy your little hair follicle boners.
Yeah. And then clear any bad energy after that.
And then clear your energy. Yep. Even if there's no bad, when you get home, it's just a good thing to do is clear all that energy out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, then I guess until next week.
Peace.
Bye, guys.